Hello, everybody. I'm Jackie K. Cooper, and it is my pleasure today to have as a guest Jake Allyn. And he is the star, director, writer of the new film Ride, which I saw and really liked.
Thank
And
you.
Jake, I've got to say right off the start, you're what? You're in your early 30s, 31, somewhere around there.
Yep.
How do you go so fast to writing, directing, starring in? I mean, that's a pretty awesome thing.
I mean, I think it's kind of one of those, not that I'm a sensation, but they say it takes, 10 years to make an overnight sensation. I certainly think that's somewhat of the case here, as there was a lot of work that went on behind closed doors before I ever was a first-time director. And I had a lot of preparation. Whether I liked it or not, I had a lot of time to prepare this movie and develop it. And from the first script that was written to us shooting the movie was about 8 years. So I had a lot of time to prepare to wear all those hats.
Well, you you came up on my radar with No Man's Land, which
Yep.
I hadn't seen the quad, which
Okay.
I've gone back and researched now. But No Man's Land just came out of nowhere, and there you were starring in the film. You had something to do with the writing on that also.
Yeah, so I wrote that movie with a great co-writer down in Mexico. The movie's about Texas and Mexico and,
Right.
and our relationship. And so I had a great co-writer by the name of David Barraza that I worked with to really make sure that we got, each side of the border right.
But flash forward, I just like I'm watching this movie, No Man's Land, thinking, hey, this guy's great. Looking at your credentials. Then the next thing I know, you're in the Karen Kingsbury movie, Someone Like You.
Yep.
Then the next thing I know, I'm watching three seasons at one time of the Baxters. And
Yeah.
there you are. And then suddenly here comes Ride, and everything's clicking.
Oh, thank you, man. I mean, it was a lot of work in the dark before I got to see some light. I think with COVID and everything, it just really shifted just release dates. And it did kind of create this kind of beautiful cacophony of, Jake projects.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Ride, I get tons of movies, and
A lot of movies out there right now.
I'm older than dirt, and I have been a C. Thomas Howell fan for a long time. And
Yeah.
Annabeth Gish, I remember seeing her in Mystic Pizza years ago, and that was so I've been a fan of hers. And then I was familiar with you, so I kind of pulled it out of the pile and thought, well, I'll watch this. Super impressed. Now, did you wrote that or co-wrote it?
Co-wrote it.
Who wrote that with you?
I actually wrote it with my best friend and the actor who plays my brother in the movie, Josh Plassey. So we kept
And
we
he's
kept it.
also in the Baxters with you.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Uh,
all related.
what I loved about it, Jake, was the movie was about when bad things happen to good people,
Sure.
and then what good people have to do to deal with these bad things, and what should the consequences be.
Yeah.
And you and Josh, in that script, just gave such a twist and turn to it, and made it so personal.
Yeah.
And you're watching the movie, and I'm not going to give away anything because I want people to see it, and I want them to have the enjoyment of everything that unfolds as it does. But it just keeps you right there on the edge all the way through. And so congrats on that.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, I really appreciate that. Again, I go back to the fact that it took us 8 years to make it, and as tough as that was as artists trying to get their story out there, it did make it better along the way because we just kept pushing. Can it be better? Can it be better? Can it be better? And it did allow us when we finally made the movie, 8 years. I always say 8 years and 18 days. We shot the film in 18 days. And it did I felt it on
That
set. I
also amazes me. 18 days. I mean, that movie
mean,
looks
right?
well put together. And I've been on movie sets. Nothing happens in 18 years. It seems
Yeah, I know.
18
Uh,
days for a full movie.
yeah,
Man,
it
and
was
you had you
wild,
had
man. And all the
body
rodeo
busting
scenes.
scenes and everything else that you had to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, all the rodeo stuff we shot at a live rodeo that took place over our last 3 days of shooting. We just drove up to this rodeo in Kentucky and did all the rodeo stuff at a live working rodeo that they kind of let us integrate into. It was really exciting, a great challenge. I mean, no rehearsals, not a bunch of blocking and talking things through and quiet on set. It was just go, go, go. But it was good, you didn't get a chance to second guess yourself.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you have any hand in the casting?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. You bet your ass.
Let me tell you this. And his name that comes right now, the Yellowstone guy, Flory.
Forey J. Smith.
I loved him on Yellowstone. I loved him in this movie.
Yeah, he's amazing. Amazing.
The three generation level is
Yeah.
just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, that was crucial. I mean, it's really kind of one of the cornerstones of the movie is three generations of bull riders and the legacy involved in rodeo and particularly with this family. And if you don't get two guys that have really been around it, I mean, both those guys were and are real cowboys. Both of them competed in rodeos in the early 80s. You know what I mean? And so to bring that, a lot of times Hollywood likes to bring, they like to bring sand to the beach or dirt to the rodeo. And I'm like, no, let's just get the real guys. And so it was paramount to cast guys who are not only great actors, but real deal cowboys. And they brought so much, either just truth to what was already on the page, or they brought in new ideas and told me stories about their rodeo days, what it was like growing up in their rodeo families. Hey, here's this scene that's pretty good. How can we put a few little touches on it to make it, authentic as possible? And I really felt like I was grabbing a bunch of partners, not casting actors to work for me.
That's a great concept. If you can bring people in that kind of relationship rather
Yeah.
than just as hired people, then you're ahead of the game
Yeah.
completely.
Bring people that are better than you, that challenge you. I always say like I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. And I feel like it's the same thing on a movie set where, particularly as the director, if you can hire the right crew, the right HODs, the department heads, and you can cast the right people, your job's actually like it's a little secret. Your job's actually pretty easy on set. If you cast wrong, then you're in for a world of hurt. Um, and I was very lucky that on my first film, I was really given the reins as a director to pick who I wanted. A lot of times, if you're a first time director, you're just not going to be able to pick who you want or to offer who you want always. It's just the nature of the business. But I was extremely lucky that I had a producing team and a distributor behind me in Wellgo USA that was like, that's who you believe is the right guy, then that's who we believe is the right guy.
How did you and Josh meet?
We met in Los Angeles just as two kids, pursuing careers in the entertainment business, both as, really auditioning actors in Los Angeles. And we both kind of, we both come from Southern backgrounds, similar family types, and just kind of clicked right away, just as friends. We were both kind of athletes that turned actors, so we just had a lot of similarities. And then we started talking stories and as an actor you get a lot of auditions and you go, gosh, why am I begging to be a part of something that maybe I don't even believe in or think is that great, or and yet I'm begging to be a part of them, like how do we flip the script here? And so we started talking about stories, and that kind of led us to the Hawkins family that became Ride.
Wow, that's again. And now, when you did someone like you,
Yeah.
had you already been cast in the Baxters?
Yes.
So Karen
So,
Kingsbury knew who
Yes, so I was cast in the Baxters. We had done that show, and then I met Karen because I think she came on set one day just to visit. Because she was more of the kind of consulting producer, the book writer, both the Baxters and Someone Like You are based on Karen Kingsbury's books. And on the Baxters, she was a bit more of a consulting producer, I think. And then on Someone Like You, I mean, that was her baby, her and Tyler Russell, her son and the director of that film. And so I got to meet her and just we really, really clicked. I think because we're both writers. Far more prolific than I. But
He's amazing.
we really connected on just a pure writer to writer kind of relationship. And then she, luckily didn't hate my work as an actor on the Baxters. And she was like, I think I'm gonna start my own production company. I wanna do this. I don't want to just be the book writer. I really want to have my hand in the producing and the casting and all that comes with it. And so she literally put her money where her mouth's at, funded their own film, started their own production company. Her son, she wrote the script with her son and he directed it. He's awesome director. I mean, I was so lucky that a couple months, we shot Someone Like You 3 months before Ride. So I was so blessed that 3 months before the first time I was going to direct, write, and play one of the leads, I got to just act and just play a lead in their film and watch him direct. And they were aware that I was going to direct my first film. They were very open to me kind of I didn't produce that film, I didn't co-direct that film or anything, but they just kind of allowed me into that space and to be a part of those conversations, even if it was just a silent listener of those. And it prepared me so much for Ride and hopefully made Someone Like You better, or at least my performance better. Um, so yeah, I can't thank them enough. They brought me to Nashville. We ended up making Someone Like You and Ride in Nashville. And then I ended up just moving here. I live here full time now. I mean, it really changed my life, those two films.
Now, the Baxters,
Yes, sir.
they released 3 seasons.
Yep. A lot of drama. A
I can
lot of
remember I
drama.
watched that thing forever.
Did you really? All right.
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
Okay.
Beginning to end, they sent me the whole thing. Is there going to be more?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely more books.
I know.
I personally would love like a prequel. I know they've done some prequel books. I mean, there's tons of stories. I mean, prolific books.
Well, they
I
are.
don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I know Amazon released it kind of as its own thing, I don't know if you'd call it a limited series because there were so many episodes, but they released it in a way that could live just in that world. So I'm not sure, but I mean, I of course would love to do more.
We did not get all the answers.
I know it was left
It ended on very cliffhanger.
cliffhanger. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to call Amazon on that one.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Above my pay grade.
Well, getting back to Ride, C. Thomas Howell, his career has spanned decades.
Yeah.
And what was it about him or his prior performances
Yeah.
that made you think that he was right for the central,
Yeah.
when he kind of shared the central story?
It was two things. The simple one being he's a real cowboy. His dad was a stunt man and a stunt cowboy and a rodeo cowboy. And, his dad, I think, was the stunt rider on Urban Cowboy, I believe.
The John Travolta?
That movie. And so C. Thomas was riding bulls at 12 years old. Tommy was sleeping in the back of his dad's truck bed going on the rodeo circuit. I don't care if you went to Juilliard or Yale or whatever, you can't recreate that. So he just knows that world very intimately, and he's great with a rope. I mean, that's just a skill that he has. So that was great. So of course I knew he'd nail the authenticity part of it. I knew we were going to shoot at live rodeos, so I knew I needed an actor that didn't need hours of rehearsal and could be comfortable around animals and all that stuff. So I knew we had that, checked off the list really well. But then, I saw him do an arc on Animal Kingdom season 1 where he wasn't playing a cowboy. Far, far from it. I think he was playing kind of a naval commander. Real straight-laced, clean-shaven, very by the rules kind of guy.
What's the father?
He was the father. Again, similar role in terms of this
Yeah.
father loves
Yes.
his daughter and gets gut punched and kind of gets screwed over by the family. And the way that he played that role, I just thought was masterful. Just an absolute masterclass in vulnerability and depth
Well,
and hurt and pain, but without saying a word. And it was actually watching that made me say that's John Hawkins, not because he can wear a cowboy hat.
no,
I
but
had
he
both.
carries the grief in that film well.
Yes. And you're talking about a film, in Ride about big things, a daughter with cancer, that's a big theme. A son who he doesn't speak to for years, a son that's been to prison, a son that I don't want to give a spoiler away, but that really hurt the family. And those kinds of things, if misplayed, can just be awful. They can be so corny and overly melodramatic, and they can be really bad.
Gives it just the right balance.
Yeah, but Tommy is gonna go there, and he's gonna play it honestly. He doesn't care about how he looks, if the audience is gonna like him, whatever. He knows how to get deep, deep, deep inside the character, the relationships, the circumstances, while making it his own, and that's what I loved about working with him. And I told him right off the bat too. I mean, when you go and offer actors like C. Thomas Howell, Annabeth Gish, Forey J. Smith, like you said, I mean, they've been doing great work since the 80s. They don't need to take a risk on some guy's first directed film that he also is going to star in. They don't need to take that risk. Um, so I was very upfront with them that I want to be challenged and I'm bringing you in because I think you're better than me and I want to go toe to toe and I want to make each other better. And I promise I'm not just going to let you come in here and walk through it. You know what I mean? Because that can happen in this industry where you get paid some bucks to show up on set because you're a name actor or whatever. And I'm like, you know, I respect you, but I'm also going to challenge you, and I hope you want that.
What amazed me too is Annabeth Gish's character that
She's a
you wrote,
beauty.
that you wrote. Not only is she the mother, the wife,
Sure.
she's also the law,
Yep.
which gave it a completely different spin.
Yeah.
Because the family, your character has had problems with
Yeah.
the law in the past. And here it is when some suspicion is placed on the family again about certain acts.
Hmm.
She is in an almost impossible role because she's the sheriff. I think she's the sheriff.
Yep.
And then she's also the mother, the wife, etc.
Yep.
And the writing is so great on that. I'll give y'all credit.
Yeah. She made us look good.
She has been good in so many things over the years.
Yep.
And again,
Always good. She
great.
always finds a way.
Yeah, yeah, it really does.
Mhm.
What's what next? You're located in Nashville. You got all these great credentials now. If just moving on, I'm sure. What's coming up?
Yeah, I say it with a heavy heart, but I think, I'm gonna take the cowboy hat off for a little bit, and I'm gonna go tell a story about a real police officer named Kevin Simmers, who was a true story. Yeah, this guy named Kevin Simmers, he was a police officer just outside of Baltimore, Maryland. He ran a drug task force for about 20 years, and he was this, badass, kicking doors in kind of cop. But while he was winning the war on drugs in the streets, he was slowly losing it in his own home as his daughter was slowly losing her battle with addiction. And she started on pills and opioids and eventually sadly graduated to heroin. And they had this, tragic, awful, heroic, hilarious, crazy 2 year battle with addiction. And he would bend the law to try and help her. He would use the law to try to throw her in jail to get her away from her dealers. I mean, just the wildest of circumstances to try and win this war on drugs that he was waging with his daughter. And she ultimately passed away. She overdosed.
Hmm.
And in the wake of that, this cop who thought he could arrest his way to victory, to cleanliness, decided to turn his badge in and build an all-women recovery home that he basically built with his bare hands and now runs to this day. It's called Brooks House in his daughter's honor.
Where is it
And
located?
Hagerstown, Maryland, North Maryland. Um, and he now runs this house for women. He treats every girl there like they're his own daughter. And I mean, he's a real life hero. And that's, I was captivated by the story, and Lord willing, I'll do him justice.
Are you writing the script or?
I wrote that script, wrote it kind of quietly over the last 2 or 3 years, and I've taken a lot of different trips up to Maryland, and he's become a good friend of mine, and hopefully make that movie in the next couple of months here.
Now, are you going to film in Nashville? Or are you going since you
I,
now live there?
I'm not quite sure. I don't think we'll make it in Nashville, actually. That'd be great, but I don't think we'll make it here. I'm not quite sure where we're going to film it yet.
Also, there's so much interesting in your life to me. You and your brother have your own production company.
Yes, yeah, he was a producer on Ride. He directed No Man's Land, and he'll produce this movie about Kevin Simmers as well.
Now, how was it? He directed you in No Man's Land. How
Yeah,
was it? Is he your older brother?
my older brother. Yeah,
So he's directing you. How was
he's the
it?
boss.
Huh?
He's the boss, and I love it
Who's the
that way.
boss?
He's the boss. We know our roles. I like being a soldier. Tell me what to do. Tell me what, I'm an athlete, so I like being coached. And he and he likes being the coach. Uh, so I think we do it well. I don't think we challenge each other in a negative way. We challenge each other in a positive way. And I just have to say, he's directed I don't know, 10 films, I think. And far superior director than I. But I just have to say it was so cool for me to direct my first film and to watch him support me in the way that he did was just, it was a master class in being a big brother.
Now, is your whole family theatrical? Or are you just the two who came along? And
I'm probably the most theatrical of the bunch. I'm the emotional actor in the group, but we are definitely all storytellers. My dad is a writer. So that's where, that is the foundation of everything that we do is writing. Um, so yeah, it's definitely in the family for sure.
well, I have a brother, and I cannot imagine us collaborating on
I
any.
know that's what everybody says.
Ah, so that's really great when it works out that way.
Yeah.
Did you just going back again? Your career fascinates me because looking at your background, it just like it's like everything just fell right into place. Moved here, moved here, etc. How did you get up the courage to go to Los Angeles to begin with to be an actor? That's
Yeah.
a daunting task right there.
Yeah. I was playing football in college, and I kind of knew that was coming to an end. And I was like, man, I had just enough foresight to say, wow, in a couple of months, you're going to take those pads off. You're never going to put them on again. Your whole life, you've been Jake Allyn, the football player. And in a couple of months, you'll just be Jake Allyn. What's that going to do to you, man? And I just knew, I don't know, I just knew that there was going to be a hole in me from that. And so I started trying to fill it before football ended. And I walked into an acting class, and within a few moments of my first scene, I said, wow, this is giving me the same feeling that I do when I play football. This could be it. And so that's what made me fall in love with acting. And then my brother and dad both being writers was kind of a natural progression into that. And so I moved to LA and pursued, acting and writing pretty full time.
But so do a million others. Yet you know, your talent has been recognized. I mean, in three different films, acting, writing, directing. You're a triple threat right there.
Well, thank you. You said it. You said it, not
I
me.
said it. I said it.
Yeah,
I'll stand by it.
I mean, like a lot of people, I mean, I'm just trying to do my best. I really believe in the stories that I tell. I think that's the number one thing. Not that anybody's asking for my advice, but particularly in indie filmmaking, I do really feel that you better be passionate about the story you're telling. Again, especially on the indie side of it, because you're not going to have the money to fix problems. You're not going to have the money to pay people to care. They're going to have to go off you. You're going to have to pay them in love and energy. And so that was always my secret sauce with Ride, is I just knew I cared the most. And that was going to get me past any lack of technical, I'm not really a technical guy when it comes to the camera and lights. And sometimes I see directors and they're looking through like one of those telescopes and they're
Yeah.
adjusting. I'm like, what are they doing? Do they know what they're doing? And they probably do. There's all different kinds of directors. That's never my forte or my path. My my superpower is just really caring. Trying to tell every story.
That'll take you a long way.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Well, you know, where can people see Ride right now? Is it streaming somewhere? Is it in
Yeah,
theaters?
it's available. Our DVDs actually just came out if you're still in the DVD game, but it's also available on digital rental on Amazon, Apple, Fandango at home, all the different at home kind of VOD rental services, on demand, all that stuff. And then in January, it'll start streaming exclusively on one of the bigger platforms that I don't think I'm supposed to say it yet, so I'll be careful not to, but that's many months away. So
Uh, I'm telling you, I've already seen the film. I've already watched the film. I've already liked the film. Jake Allyn, I think you're a talent to watch in all three areas that we've talked about, and I wish you nothing but continued success.
thank you, man. You just made my day.
You've made my day appeared on my show. So
Heck
thanks
yeah.
a lot. This has
All
been
right.
Jackie K. Cooper's interview with Jake Allyn.